1, episode 18 of the Film Bros Championship Podcast. I am Tim. With me is my co-host Patrick. How you doing, buddy?
I don't remember how to do this anymore. Tim and I have been on like a 3-week break, and I'm all rusty and I don't know. I'm very weird about everything. Yeah, you screwed me up. Tim lost his voice for like a couple of weeks, coaching, screaming at children.
Yeah.
And then he went on vacation, and I was like, so here we are.
Yeah.
And bear with us.
I was not getting my voice back. Like it was like one thing after another that just led me to continue to have my voice just gone. And I still don't sound great. So but this one's just allergy related. So
right.
Bear with us.
So we had to watch Fighting Back.
Yes.
What'd you think of that, buddy?
I thought it was incredibly interesting. It did some things that made me go, I would not expect that from this motion picture or this time to see these type of things. Didn't necessarily execute them all very well. No. But I think I was just I don't know, the whole time I was just going, like that's how I felt most of it.
Okay.
You had a very different feeling.
I think this movie is trash, and it doesn't know what it wants to be. It's very confused.
Oh yeah, it was trying some things and couldn't execute any of them. I just think it was an interesting attempt at what it was trying to do in various different attempts.
I think it was haphazard and lame for most of it. I think they were trying to do an answer to Death Wish and ended up being a worse version of Class of 1984.
Yeah, it's definitely not as good as Class of 1984.
No,
for sure. But I think I might be rating things higher than you on this one.
Yeah, we're gonna have some arguments on this thing.
Probably. Not that I want to say that this was some great movie or anything, but it wasn't like watching Sorceress or something where you're just like, oh god.
Spoiler alert, that's the only movie rated below this thing for me right now.
Wow! I think that's crazy.
You might be able to move me. I don't know, but I was not happy watching this thing. I was like, what are you doing? So, let's get into it.
Okay, so this is my pick. So,
yeah, you're responsible for this nonsense.
I'm responsible for Death Wish 2 and Fighting Back.
Yeah. Speak to the people. Tell them what you've done.
All right, so I'm trying to remember Tom Skerritt's character name.
John D'Angelo.
John D'Angelo. That's right. So John D'Angelo has a wife, a son, and a baby on the way. And they're living in Philly, and they're living in a not-so-good part of town. And they get into some altercations that leads to his wife losing his baby, his mother being attacked, and he has enough, and he decides to form a neighborhood watch, basically, that's going to try to make the neighborhood safer. And there is some complications, I guess, and some things that make people think twice about stuff. But in the end, he wins. But yeah.
Yeah. Do you think this movie thinks that John is a good guy or not?
Oh, I don't know, because this is what I think is interesting, because there's plenty of times where
I don't know.
They have characters question.
That's the most interesting parts of the movie, and they kind of
that's what I've been fascinated with.
It shows up for like 2 minutes and then never gets followed up with.
Well, we have Kodo question him, which was great.
The best parts of the movie.
Yeah, and it's just not enough. It was really disappointing. I was like, wow, there needs to be like 10 times more of this. And then I thought the stuff with his best friend, the police officer that joins the neighborhood watch with him,
do you know his name?
Also questions him a lot.
Do you know the character's name, that best friend cop?
No, I didn't. I missed that.
I swear to God, I wrote down best friend cop throughout 90% of my notes. And then when I look back, it's Vince. His name was Vince. I'm sure they said that at some point.
Interesting.
Did you know the bad guy pimp has a character name?
No, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. This movie does not bother with naming people too much.
Yeah.
The only one whose name you will sort of remember is John D'Angelo, because he shouts his name a lot in this movie.
Oh, yeah. and it's kind of placid everywhere, and everybody's saying it. I guess that's one of the interesting questions, right? Right. I guess in a traditional sense, the pimp there is the villain.
That's why I wrote it up. But
but you could make the argument it is John.
It would have been a more interesting movie if they had done that. Which is, I wish you had ever actually seen the original Death Wish. Yeah. Because the original Death Wish does a better job of balancing that question. Like, well, wait a minute. He's hunting people now. He's looking for crime.
Right.
He's starting stuff. He's baiting criminals to come get him.
Right.
So, like, this isn't good, what he's doing.
Yeah, which I think is really the best friend cop. That's a main role for him, because he's the one that's like, I don't know about this. And then as the movie keeps going, he's like, I was on board, but I don't like the way you're doing things.
Yeah, he constantly says, you're going too far. And then he just does whatever. He just keeps on going with it.
He just lets him. Because he's kind of a pushover. Because I do have this one line where I think I got to look at my notes, where he basically calls himself out for being a wimp. And John just goes, yeah.
You're right. I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our hero.
Yeah.
John D'Angelo.
And he makes the best hero in town? What was it?
I wrote this down.
It's the weirdest thing to yell.
I had to look this up. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? He makes... And
I feel like I wrote it down.
I put the closed captionings on. I'm like, what? But yeah, later on in the movie, he wins in a bar fight.
Yeah.
With his good boy gang.
Right.
The PNP.
And their vests.
Yes, his puffy vests and hats.
And they have different colors. They're like, they got all the hats and coats and different colors.
He shouts at the bar after victory. He says, "My name is John D'Angelo. I run an Italian deli. I make the best hot pero in town." It gives the energy of Will Ferrell in that SNL skit where he just randomly shouts, like, "I drive a Dodge Stratus."
Yes. That is exactly the emotion, yeah.
John D'Angelo is constantly like flying off the handle about ridiculous nonsense. And I'm sorry, straight off the top, we got to talk about Tom Skerritt playing an Italian man.
Okay, yeah, this is great because that was one of my earliest notes. Is he seems to be the least Italian person in this whole neighborhood.
Poor Tom Skerritt. They did him no favors in this movie. Did nothing with the hair, nothing. It's just Tom Skerritt, young Tom Skerritt, and they surround him with lots of super Italian people. So he looks
like stereotypes,
more waspy than usual.
Yeah, he really doesn't like. And it's kind of funny because his cop best friend also is not very Italian. So at least when they're together, they both kind of stick out. But it's really bad when it's just Tom Skerritt there, because it's like, yeah, you really don't belong in this deli. Well, every once in a while he tries to do a little bit of an accent, but it's not always there.
His wife is Patti LuPone.
Yeah.
And then I have I have it written down. I'm sorry. They have Frank Severo in this movie, who is Janko from Godfather 2 and Frankie Carbone in Goodfellas. I'm like, they have some. These great Italian character actors just surrounded him with him, like, oh, he just looks paler than ever. This is terrible.
Really doesn't fit in.
But he tries to make up with it by acting a lot with his hands and like doing bad. Italian
every once
impressions.
in a while, I think it's mostly when he tries to show anger is when he'll try to do a little bit of an accent,
which he constantly is in this movie. He's constantly angry.
Yeah.
So the movie starts off with him giving a going away party for a friend.
Yeah.
And he appears to make some of the worst sheet pizza I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Just like real garbage. It makes me question the quality of this deli. I know he screams about making the best hot pero, which I can't figure out what that is. I Googled it. It seemed to be Mexican hot dogs. I don't know what the heck that was talking about.
I didn't thought it was that. I thought he said hero or something or
according
hero
to
or something.
The closed captions, it said hot pero. I'm like, what is hot pero? What is he talking about?
I think he must have gotten messed up. I don't remember hearing it that way, but
I just, like I said, I did closed caption. That's why I was like, I had to check.
But it's it's a weird going away thing. They're gifting this guy a hat,
a cowboy hat.
So I guess he's moving.
He's going to Colorado.
Texas. Colorado, okay. Oh yeah, because the wife makes a comment about having the baby in Colorado or something.
Tim,
you don't really get the inference that they're leaving because of the neighborhood going down. You kind of, I'm like, later on in the movie, I'm like, I guess that's why they moved. But you're not really clued into that being the reason.
Do you think I could pull off a cowboy hat?
No.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of that today. A lot of people are telling me that. Oh well.
Sorry. I'd rather tell you honestly, and then without you showing up to with a cowboy hat one day, and like, oh no.
It's like Cheaty's friend in The Good Place with the red boots.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So like, the first instance of like John going off the handle is when he's at the hospital after the wife's accident, and he's just screaming at the cops constantly. It's like apparently he had to wait 45 minutes for an ambulance, which does feel a little excessive.
That is pretty long.
Especially for a major city like Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because their neighborhood watch gets their own, kind of ambulance.
Yeah,
that's nice. They basically set up themselves like the Ghostbusters.
Thank you for pointing that out. I have this written down. Like, boy, there was a lot of abandoned firehouses in the 80s. Oh my God, they have their own Ecto-1.
Yeah,
this is incredible.
That's a big Twinkie. But yeah, so It's weird. He blames the police, which I get that they're supposed to be protective service. Like, hey, we're understaffed and all that kind of stuff, and he basically does not care. But I did like the line delivery where it was like, I got my mom up there, my wife here, and I got
my mom on one floor, and my wife on another. Yeah,
I thought it was nicely delivered. I don't think Tom Skerritt's a bad actor by any means.
No. That's it pains me, but let's say like
it's just a weird casting.
You are hilariously miscast for this part, sir.
Yes.
But you are a good actor. You're a charismatic presence. So I'm like,
Which I guess if the one thing that makes it work is because he is charismatic, you understand why people are following him.
Yeah.
Even though he's kind of a psycho.
He has a weird relationship with his wife throughout the movie too.
Yeah.
She's constantly telling him, like, let's just leave the city. And he's like, nobody makes me move.
Oh, yeah. It was very weird and stubborn. And then, she, at one point is, cooking.
Yes,
and,
I have this written down, too.
Burns herself.
She
screams in pain.
From the next room over in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And John's like, what's your problem?
Yeah.
God damn it. And that's how you react? Your wife just burned her hand, dude. You hear
to be fair, as soon as he notices that she's actually hurt, he changes his tune. But it's kind of weird that your initial response...
Yes, it's very weird that he's just like he's a rage monster.
He has an anger problem, for sure.
And then later on, when he spots the pimp's car, he jumps out and goes flying into the bar with his gun and starts waving it around. And his cop friend has to pull it out. He gets a shot off, but it's like, Jesus...
Yeah,
I can't believe his cop friend let him start a good boy gang.
Right? Because he's unhinged.
This guy,
you have
knows
that
he's
part
unhinged. He's not good.
where he gets in the car and the pimp gets away, and then he just randomly just bangs into another pimp-looking car who did nothing. The car was just there. The guy was just there. He didn't do anything wrong. He just bangs into his car, and that's another point where Vince is like, yeah, for the community, right? Yeah. Yeah, making it, more like, you're kind of not doing things great here.
Oh, I want to talk about when they go into the bar, when John gets his good boy gang together, his PNP, the People's, what is it called?
People's Neighbor...
The People's Neighborhood Patrol.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. So they go into the bar, it's like 7 of them together, and the first thing I see is this 3 weirdos on roller skates trying to get out of the bar because they're not liking the vibe.
Oh, I missed the roller skates. Oh, weird. Well, it was a weird bar because it also had like a little stripper type thing off to the side too. Like, what is this, a strip club?
Man, this just does not speak well of me. I missed that, but I'm like, because I'm too obsessed with the damn roller skates. Like, why are they wearing roller skates in a bar? This is very weird.
Because they didn't show that there being a topless stripper type person the first time you're at the bar. But then you're there the second time there, and it's like, off to the corner.
I missed it.
Right when he's asking for his drink or whatever, I think.
Oh, let's talk about that beer.
Yeah! Oh my gosh, the head on that beer! Now, I was so upsetting.
It is half foam. So let me ask you a question. Did he do it
Half
on purpose?
Might be generous. Did he do it on purpose? Oh. Maybe? Do you think? I don't think he did it on purpose.
I can't decide if this is just like this is the thing that it drives you and me nuts in a movie because we're like, what have you done to my beer? It drives you nuts in real life. If someone puts
in real life, yeah.
So, but I'm thinking, I thought about this today. I'm like, well, maybe he did it because he hates that dude because he waved a gun in his bar earlier and plotted a job.
I feel he's like
you owe me money. You gotta pay me money and stuff. I guess because there was a bullet in the floor.
There should have been some kind of recognition. Whether it's from Scarrett's character or whether the bartender's like, a-hole, I'm just gonna pour this crap beer or something. Like there needed to be some kind of recognition of it. It was very nonchalant and nobody batted an eye over this foam beer. So to me, that tells me, that was not done on purpose.
It's okay
because he's a bad bartender.
John doesn't even try to drink it. He throws it to the bartender's face because he laughs at his mama.
Yeah.
And he loudly screams, "Nobody laughs at my mama!"
Yeah. Yeah. And then bar fight, and then
he screams about his name and everything.
Has some comedic moments in the bar fight, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. And then there's then we get the cut to this is sad. Did you know they had a dog before their house gets broken into?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I had no idea there was a dog.
I didn't even know there was a dog in this house.
Yeah.
Where did the dog come from? And now it's dead? This is terrible.
And it was really brutal.
Yeah,
they
slaughtered that
dog. That was messed up. Yeah. And they really showed that.
What'd you think? What'd you think of the scene where like the whole neighborhood surprises him and greets him? And it's like,
he's supposed to be taking his kid to school.
Yeah,
and he forgets about him.
Yeah, he really does. The kid just disappears.
Yeah.
And they give him a special gift, and they go like, it's like, oh, look at this beautiful box. What could this gift be? Oh, it's an Italian flag sash.
Yep. But he's like a member of the community now, or the upper echelon of the community, I guess.
It's pretty lame ass gift for all the late nights he's been doing.
But I guess to go back into this character as a hero, right? As he's, I guess, successfully turning the neighborhood around, right? He's getting the sash, right? And which to me, I'm like, okay, they've done some stuff, but I have not really seen this neighborhood getting that much safer yet. But at least the neighborhood is starting to think he is.
Yeah.
And this is when you start to see some like, kind of it gets referenced, but you don't see it that often. Like, I guess you kind of have to infer, like, yeah, he totally forgot about bringing his kid to school there. His wife's gonna like, all right, whatever, I'm just gonna go see a movie. So his shop is not really being taken care of. He's ignoring his kid. He's not gonna go to the hockey game.
Yep.
That the kid wanted to go to. His mom won't leave her house because she's too scared, and he won't give her breakfast because he's got to go to the PNP.
Yeah, he's obsessed with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, so it's interesting that you see that,
and she'll complain throughout the movie, but at the same time, never goes. She threatens to leave him, but never actually does.
Never does.
There's no follow through in any of these threads that the movie has ever, and it's frustrating. Like, oh, that would have been an interesting tack to go. Nope, we're not doing that.
Well, I guess that's, again, where I'm kind of like, interesting, and not much of a follow-through, I agree and grant you. I just thought it was interesting what they were at least trying and attempting to do. Like, I appreciated some of the threads there, but yeah, I really wish they connected better, or had more of a, I don't know, follow-through is not really the word I'm looking for, but I guess more clearly seeing these things happening besides just being mentioned a couple of times.
Yeah, no, they're throwaway ideas.
Yeah,
Like, it's like you're driving down a road and, like, you're passing amusement parks, resorts, and you're like, oh, we're just going straight to this ball of yarn. That's what we're checking out. I'm like, really? That's the least interesting thing we could have landed on. But all right.
Yeah.
And then he starts running for office. But apparently the dude has never voted in his life.
Well, yeah, he's clearly, it's all going to his head.
I don't like this dude.
Right? It's clearly he likes all the attention he's getting. Yeah. He likes all the positive feedback he's getting from the community. So people are smoozing him and he's eating it up. So he's kind of like, yeah, sure, why not? Even though, and the wife correctly calls him out on being totally full of shit.
Yeah, she does. But then, like I said, he's not even thinking about it. He just dismisses it and
it just carries on. Yeah,
carries on doing exactly what he's always been doing.
Although I think he didn't exactly fully commit because he kept going, I'll think about it. I don't think he eventually committed to it until it became the tit for tat with the police commissioner kind of basically being like, yeah, I'll make all this go away and stuff, but now you owe me a favor, so you need to basically go get yourself elected.
Love that dude, by the way.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the dinner table scene where they realized that the son's friend, the 12-year-old son's friend, was doing heroin?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They were like, they kept calling it smack, or whatever. It was like smack, and they were pulling up the arm, and I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah, well, I remembered smack was that was the...
I forget the old lingo and like which drug that really meant.
Well, how about he pulls out the plunger from the bag? I'm like, holy mother God, he's doing heroin.
That was really shocking. And you find out that he's getting drugs from some white guy, the Chicken King or whatever.
What did he drop in the milk? I forget. He dropped something in the milk, and that's how the parents like, what's going on with you?
Oh, he put something in the milk, and then he's trying to get a spoon in there to get it out or something. I think.
And he spills the whole milk, and that's when they realize his eyes are all dilated. He's like, hey, and he immediately says, "This kid's on smack." And I'm like,
yeah.
Well, how'd you figure that one out? And then he rips up the arm, like, oh, there's a needle track.
And then he like finds it in his bag, the rest of the stuff. Yeah. And then he's making sure that his son didn't do anything. Yeah. Good boy, he didn't do anything.
No. And then but he gets his kid to narc on the drug dealer in front of the school. Did you recognize who that was, by the way?
It kind of looked like what's his name, the principal from Billy Madison.
You are correct, sir.
Oh, all right.
That's Josh Mostel. Who is Barry Shalowitz from City Slickers and Principal Max from Billy Madison. Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I was like, it's a pretty. I mean, he was older. Could that be him? Like, I wasn't quite positive. I was like, I'm pretty sure it was though.
He has barely any lines. But yeah, John goes right up to him after his kid points him out and just breaks his arm with like an Irish hurling stick.
Is that what that was? It just looked like a piece of wood.
Check it on your phone. Google it right now. Irish hurling stick. That's
right.
What it is. They got a bunch of them, and I'm like, why is this Italian gang walking around with Irish hurling sticks? This is all right.
Maybe they're close to the Irish neighborhood.
Maybe. And then there's another interesting like thread that never gets carried on because after he breaks the guy's arm, he's like, I'm gonna and he tells him who his boss is. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go get the cops. He's like, we own the cops.
Yeah.
Never followed up on. This movie has no dirty cops.
No, he goes directly to, I guess, the Chicken King, which I don't know why or how he found out that the Chicken King was the higher up to that.
Well, it's because Josh, they tells him who his boss is.
Oh, did he mention the Chicken King?
Okay, yeah. Well, that's where he goes, and it's like we got Gus Fring 1.0 here. Yeah,
and then the Chicken King is like, we have connections to the mob, so you can't do anything or whatever.
I don't think so. Does he say anything about that? Because that's who he goes to afterwards just to double check. Like,
yeah, that's who I thought they were talking about at first. So I didn't quite understand.
I don't know. There's a lot of weird breakaway scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
There's very little connective tissue. I feel like there's like 15 to 20 minutes missing from this movie. Or it was just all put together like slapdick. Like, well, we're just going to throw a bit of this in there, throw this in there. I couldn't figure it out because
I get confused the season too, because sometimes it's fall and sometimes it's straight up winter.
Yeah, all the Yaphet Kotto scenes feel like they were just added on after the fact or something.
Yeah,
they're so out of place in the rest of the movie.
They needed more.
Oh, 100%.
Well, there was a reason the first time, I guess, to go, because he's trying to find out who did whatever to his grandma, which I didn't know that was going to be the ultimate mission, is to figure out not his grandmother, sorry, his mother.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why he was, I guess they were like, we've checked all the neighborhoods. The only area that they could be possibly from is this neighborhood, and that neighborhood is run by Yaphet Kotto.
Ivanhoe Washington. What a name.
Yeah. I didn't even catch the first name. I just kept calling him Washington, but
yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll save that for...
Yeah, going back though. So he goes to the mafia boss, and he is very respectful to him, even though he is a thug, a criminal.
He's a criminal.
But he's very nice to this guy.
But he's white.
And then he says, he wants to make sure, like, I heard you don't traffic in drugs. Is that right? He's like, yep, I got no part of that. And the mafia gives him, like, I respect what you're doing. It's like, this is like, once again, I'm like, what is the message of this movie?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
he's okay with crime as long as it's from white people.
Possibly, I don't know.
Well, I mean, they kind of go there, right? So, like, at there's a few references. I think the police commissioner calls him out on it. Kodo calls him out on it.
Yeah, all played by black people. All the black people in this movie, except for like the token one that they have in the PNP.
Yeah.
All say like, what you're doing is screwed up. You're just beating up black people and attacking black people. And what it would have been cool, but there's like only like 3 of these scenes where they're like,
yeah, and you think they're really going for it too. When Kodo is eventually like, all right, these are the people who did it. But which one? What one of these guys?
Well, I was
going
to get into that one later for Kodo stuff, but yeah.
Well, but I think it's important for the character, for the hero here, because it's like one of these guys did it or whatever.
He says Kodo says, for some reason, calls him up and says like, all right, I got the guys who did this, and he says like,
yeah, which is that part is random because that one made no sense because he basically told him off. I want nothing to do with you. So why he called him back?
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he says these are the guys, and Skerritt looks at him like, these are the guys, and confirms it. He's like, yes, these are the guys. And then Tom Skerritt just starts wailing on the black guy because there's a black guy and there's a white guy.
Yeah.
He just immediately like. Then Kodo is just like, rips him off and he's like, oh, you just assume it was the black guy, huh? It turns out it's the little white guy who cut your mom's finger off.
Yeah.
You just assume it's the black guy. And then that thread gets dropped again.
Well, they dwell on Tom Skerritt's character after they leave, and he does look like visibly like distraught about it. Like he really got called out there. And like it I don't know, that it was not a super long scene, but it definitely focused on enough that it was like, okay, maybe there's some realization now starting to kick in. Did I lead to my friend dying here? Am I really having a race problem? Right? It really looked like a moment, but then
the movie never follows up on it.
We cut to the next scene and forget about it, and we're gonna keep on doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, not great. So
yeah,
what do you give our hero here?
Yeah, he also doesn't learn his lesson from his friend dying, and somehow even the wife of his friend supports him after her husband dying for his BS.
I literally can't figure out if this movie thinks he's a good guy or not. It's so weird.
It is weird, and then they all follow him in to break up the park and win the day, and then he basically does assassination attempt to finally get the pimp. And he wins his election, and the bad guys win and will become politicians. So that's what I was almost thinking, like, and if they hammer that in more, that would have been interesting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, here's somebody that started off for something, I guess, good, was easily corruptible, and that's going to fail its way up to the top. You know what I mean? I think there would have been something interesting there if it was trying to say that better at the end of the movie. But it doesn't. That's what I'm like. At all. Interesting.
It's flat on its face.
Yeah.
There's so many interesting threads that the movie has no interest in picking at.
And it could be my problem because I'm filling in some of the stuff. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like, he really is a bad guy. He just killed a whole bunch of people there. And he's smiling and no one's going to know. Nobody's going to care. And he's now going to be a politician and he'll probably continue to be successful. There's something fascinating there. And the stuff with Kodo and what his friend is really interesting. So it's like, it's so weird that it's like, yeah, the connective tissue is missing, but what did I give him?
Yeah, what'd you give him?
I can't. I know you're not going to like it. I gave him a 3.
Wow.
I gave him a 3. I thought Tom Skerritt, he's a good actor. There was, as much as maybe the accent came and gone and he was miscast, but I don't think that's necessarily his fault.
Wow.
And I thought everything he did was good. And I just, as much as he's a bad person, I think, or a corrupted person, it was just, I don't know, I thought it was just interesting to see what they attempted here with him. I was not bored. It was not boring at all. I thought he was interesting. I thought he was doing a good job acting for most of it. And I just liked, as much as, again, did not have enough connective tissue and tied it all together nicely. But I just thought there was a lot of interesting things going on with the main character.
I gave him a 1.5.
Wow.
Mostly because I like Tom Skerritt. But this movie can't make up its mind about who the character is because he's constantly screaming like, "I'm not racist. I'm not racist. I'm just going after the punks."
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like 2 times in this movie that are like, those punks just happen to always be black though, right? And he's like, but the movie never follows up on that whatsoever because he gets rewarded by all these people in the end. So
doesn't it feel so true to real life though?
No, I don't think the vigilante crew would be.
Well, no, not the vigilante crew per se, but like the crime and how you go about stopping crime and the racial implications tied to a lot of that, I think is still very true and honest.
If there had been more concentration on that disparity, on like, are you actually the bad guy?
Sure.
Instead, this movie rewards him with everything he's doing and actually treats him like a hero constantly.
But I think that's also interesting.
So what's interesting is that this character is based on a real person. I forget the guy's name. Some dude in Newark who set up like a good boy gang during the riots of the 60s.
Uh-huh.
And like that guy is a more interesting story than this one.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't like the guy.
Okay.
It bothers the hell out of me. It feels completely miscast. I like Tom Skerritt, so that's why I was like willing to bump it up to an extra half point. But it's such a scatterbrained character. I don't know.
Well, I just because there's definitely people out there, right, that think they're doing the right thing and clearly are wrong.
But I don't think the movie thinks he's wrong.
Well, I think there's people who think he's right and there's people who think he's wrong. I think there's people on both sides of it. So I just think that's truth. I don't know.
If the movie had followed up more on like what happens to him as a politician or whatever, because at the end they're like, in the end he wins and he gets the park is beautiful. So clearly this is the right thing to do. It's what the movie's message is.
No, totally.
What?
And I agree. I that's why I think like again I appreciate it for all the interesting things it was doing and trying. It was definitely very frustrating. What you're saying is not wrong. I just feel like,
all right, well,
I'm more appreciative of the things it was attempting and trying.
Let's table that, and maybe we'll just have different scores again for this movie.
I could drop to at least a 2. I wouldn't go under a 2.
I could live with the 2.
Okay.
All right.
So, villain. I have a very little here.
Well, we didn't even know the man's name, Tim. I assume
what's the name?
El Dorado.
That's a fun name. Why wouldn't they have saved that more?
Because the man also drives a pink Cadillac El Dorado. It's stupid. It's very stupid, Tim.
Yeah, fair enough.
They did not think about this character too much because he has 5 lines.
Also a short fuse character, I guess.
Yeah, well, he's an evil pimp, so that comes with the territory, I guess.
Right.
I think we found out his name when he is shown the file by the police commissioner. That's my best guess. That's my best guess. But at that point in the movie, you're just like, what's going on? Anyway,
I don't remember anybody saying it, not even like his own.
No one ever says it out loud because it sounds ridiculous to call a human being El Dorado. But like the villain of the movie seems to be just crime itself, but the main criminal is this evil pimp El Dorado.
Right, because he wants. I mean, it's kind of weird, right? Yeah, he wants to know where the criminals are that did whatever to his mom. Although you don't understand that he's looking for them specifically until that map scene. So it's like, okay, didn't know that they're...
Yeah, well, there's them too, I guess. But like,
yeah,
he's
and
always
then
searching,
El Dorado...
He's always looking for the Pipmobile car. There's like
right, because that's the one that lost his baby.
Yeah, because we're introduced to El Dorado beating up a sex worker in the middle of the day on a sidewalk.
Yeah.
And that's when John happens to be at the stoplight, like right where this is happening, and that's when Patty LaPome pops out of the car, and she's like, no! Stop that! And he like tries to pull her away. And the next time
she like throws snow at him or something, right? I don't remember, like, or a drink.
He kicks the car and tells her to mind her own business, and she throws a drink at him, which is filled with ice and nothing else. And it's like, I don't know where that drink came from. I didn't see that in the car, but okay.
But now it means war,
and that causes the chase scene, which causes her to lose the baby.
Right.
The next time we see El Dorado, See, it feels dumb every time I say it. He's hanging out at the bar where John goes nuts, and he sneaks away before John can catch him. I think he says one line there.
And John, I think, even like throws a trash can at the pimp's car and stuff. Way worse stuff than what his wife did earlier, and he just drives off.
Yeah. The next time we see him, he is just after he supposedly shot a stripper's old man in the middle of the street, and everyone's just like looking around watching.
Mm-hmm.
Then he gets chased by John again, but he gets away again.
Yep.
And the most interesting thing he does, most proactive thing he does, is he's tired of John's work in the neighborhood, and after witnessing some old guy get beaten up in the park, he calls into the P&P for help, and then guns down John's cop friend when he shows up.
I think they were trying to get John.
I think they were hoping for John, but he was out on patrol somewhere else, and he didn't show up.
Right.
But that's the most proactive thing he does.
Right.
But, yeah.
And then he's, pretty, interestingly killed at the end. But yeah, he doesn't do a whole lot. I gave his character a 1.
Yeah, no, it's a 1. The next thing is he tries again when John's trying to clean up the park. He sends his minions to go kill John. It doesn't work out, and he gets away again.
Yeah.
And then he gets that police commissioner file. John does, and that's when John takes him out. And we'll get into that later. I think I'll put that one in action. But a 1. I don't.
A 1.
You don't ever find anything about him. He's just like
nothing. He orders some people around a couple times,
smiles and laughs at them, and
and usually runs away.
There's no motivation. There's no idea of what his character.
There's nothing here.
Just like he's just generic black pimp, evil pimp guy.
Yeah,
it's like, well,
there's nothing.
This is lame. So like when you have this character like in the movie, like the movie recognizes racism, but then this is like a stupid racist portrayal of a pimp character.
Yep.
This sucks. So that's why there's another point in the movie. I'm like, I don't get this movie. It's so weird.
It's not great for the villain. It's definitely not good. And that's like coming away with it, you're thinking like, all right, well, what do I put down for the villain here? And the notes, and it's like, well, I could put John down here, because that would be way more of an interesting dissection to do. But there's not really anything here, villain. It's all kind of generic bad guys. Most of them are wearing ski masks or basically faceless.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing. It's a 1.
Yeah. All right. Action.
I don't have a whole lot here either. It's not bad. Like nothing's particularly slow, but nothing's memorable either. There's really nothing like.
Well, so the movie starts off, like I said, with after Lapone gets into it with the pimp. There's a chase scene through Philly, and the chase scene is I got some screeching tires. It's okay, and then when the pimp's car runs into I forgot his name. Eldorado's car runs into John's car. The car sort of goes up almost on its side.
Yeah, it looks like it goes up onto somebody's like patio.
Yeah, almost like it hits a ramp or something like that. It just kind of lays like weirdly almost on its side, and it goes to the fence, and like that kind of looked cool.
Yeah.
And that's when the wife goes into distressed labor.
Right.
John grabs. Do you see him grabbing the gun out from like between the seats? That's where his secret hiding place was. For the gun.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's terrible, man.
I was kind of shocked he already had a gun. Like, oh, okay, we're already here. All right.
And then you got the grandmother going into the pharmacy where she gets hit over the head, and then the guy is like can't get a ring off her finger, so they cut the damn finger off.
Cut the finger off.
Which was a real holy shit moment.
It really was. Yeah, that one got me. I was a little shocked on that one.
And then we get the bar fight.
Yeah. We get the bar fight. Well, I mean, there's a whole gun altercation where it's going off, but there's not really anything there. But the bar fight, which I thought the bar fight was okay. Like there's one character that kept getting beat up in kind of a comedic way that I kind of liked.
You see the first guy before the fight starts, he just says "Kung Fu."
Oh yeah, and then he just gets punched or he gets hit.
Yeah.
I laughed. I actually laughed on that one.
I wish there had been more of the movie like that. That would have enjoyed.
And I think there was like 2 more things like that too.
Much like a lot of this movie, there's like a flashing light of entertainment, and then dashed away a second later. Because most of this bar fight is like a 50s cowboy saloon fight.
Yeah, but it's not like the punches are like bad. It's not like anybody's getting like it's really off or anything. Like I mean, it looks the physicality is okay to it. It doesn't look slow. It's just kind of not that interesting.
I wish there was some explanation for John's superior fighting ability because he never loses a fight in this movie.
Never.
He's just some deli owner who apparently is an expert hand-to-hand combat. I don't know.
He knows how to punch a guy in the gut.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of gut
punches.
Yeah.
From behind, from like that. So you see John's face, but you don't see him actually connect on anything. So yeah.
Yeah.
The best fight in the movie, though, is with OG Gus Fring.
Yeah.
That has a little bit of like Peter Griffin versus the Giant Chicken vibe to it.
A little bit. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's very vicious.
I mean, at one point they put the dude's face on the grill.
Yeah, well, my favorite part is like John throws a chair at him from across the counter, jumps over, and then the Chicken Man grabs like a medieval battle axe. He's like,
oh yeah, where did that come from?
Where did that come from?
Yeah, it was. It was. Oh my gosh, I think you're right. An axe,
which
it was like,
gets tossed away in seconds. Like, oh, where'd the axe go? Come on, I want to see that. But yeah, John, the Chicken Man throws John on the counter and breaks a bunch of glass while he's doing it.
Yeah,
so breaks the sneeze guard.
The little window counter.
And then
thing,
John like throws his face on the grill and burns that up and really just beats the crap out of him. So I appreciate that brutality. That was fun.
Yeah, it was violent. I mean, I also like the. I mean, he did like they go into the burning building and there's a little bit of a scuffle on the catwalk, and there's like a punch and they both fall off the catwalk and the guy falls to the ground. And it looked like he fell in the garbage, and it sounded like in the next scene he did live, but like was he pushed or was he whatever, which was a nice little thing there. I thought that was actually nice. Like it was like it looked legit where the dude's holding on, and they did it all in one shot take
of him getting back up there. Yeah,
of both of them falling and one guy getting, his character catching on, and the other guy falling to the ground. Like they you show the whole. It's not like you cut away.
Yeah,
which I thought was cool.
Yeah, it was good. And then the last big one is the fight in the park.
Yeah,
and this is. So
it's like a crazy car just driving into things over and around.
El Dorado sees this like another opportunity to take out John, so he sends his lackeys to go get him. John, expert hand-to-hand man.
Yeah.
How big is Tom Skerritt, by the way?
I don't know. I can't imagine he's that big of a dude.
Man, I gotta look up his height. This is gonna drive me nuts.
Fair enough.
He is 5'11". Would you say he weighs more than 170 pounds, though?
I don't know. Maybe that's about right.
Yeah.
So 170, 175.
So it seems very suspicious that how amazing he is at all this fighting.
Yeah.
Anyway, John defeats them all, and that's when El Dorado says, "Screw it," and he gets into the pink Cadillac El Dorado and starts mowing dudes down with his car.
Mowing everybody.
And somehow he gets stuck, and then John gets into his own car and chases after him, and somehow El Dorado just gets stuck somewhere, like up top in the. I didn't get it.
Didn't a car randomly blow up when it got hit?
This is what happens.
Okay,
after the car, El Dorado's car gets stuck, he just decides to jump out and leave the car, and that's where John comes up out of nowhere, coming up the hill, and smashes into El Dorado's car, which causes it to explode for reasons.
Yeah. For reasons. I guess maybe they're assuming because he's got that little battling ram thing, but that's not going to make a car just explode.
Nope. Doesn't make it explode. Doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
Cars don't do that.
It is weird. Yeah.
And then the cops arrest John. That's why El Dorado gets away.
Right. But then, he gets the information, and then during election night, he sneaks off, and he has this weird... They take us through all the steps of this contraption.
He's sitting...
So somehow he got a grenade!
Right? I don't get it.
Where did the PNP get a grenade?
They were just had wooden sticks before.
Yeah, and now, ho, ho.
Yeah. He's sitting up there on the top of this strip club with 2 bottles of Perrier.
Yeah, which is weird.
And which he's chugging out of one, and then he has a balloon from the fried chicken place. I guess
Yeah, because it said the Chicken King on it or whatever,
Was
right?
he working or something? Oh, by the way, in that chicken restaurant, why were they wearing sailor outfits?
No idea.
It's very confusing. Why?
No.
Anyway, so he fills up one of the water balloons with Perrier, very expensive back then, ties it off, and then ties the grenade to it. And somehow he knows that El Dorado is now in a convertible.
Completely different car.
Yeah, in a convertible. And he knows he uses the Perrier water balloon to smash through the top of the convertible, and the grenade explodes when it gets in there.
Right. Well, because it's a balloon. There's a balloon filled with water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not breaking...
Yeah.
I mean, maybe... I don't think so. It wasn't that tall a building.
No, I guess it was just... I don't know. But yeah, they're all like, oh, why am I wet? And then, boom, they blow up. And then he sneaks back and, hey, I'm elected.
Yeah, well, he's like, I'm winning anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the end. That's the end of the action.
That's the end of the action. Yeah.
So what'd you give the action?
To be honest, I didn't go particularly nice. As much as I had some nice things, I did 1.5.
I still gave 2. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it had enough. It was never bad. It was never slow, and at least there was like 1 or 2 cool things that I gave the half a point.
There you go.
For.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I like the Chicken Man fight in the battle axe.
Yeah, and again, I like the fall part, but yeah, I just like it wasn't like woof bad to look at, and this is upsetting. It's just very forgettable.
Yeah,
is the thing.
So,
sidekick mentor.
There's only one true sidekick in the movie.
It's his friend.
Yeah. Vince, the cop. He helps John get organized as part of the PMP, and he spends most of the movie calling John insane, and he's going too far.
Yeah.
Not much to him, though, because that's all his character ever does.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of admittedly says he's a wimp. Like, I'm scared. I'm not going to go do that.
Yeah.
Because he was kind of calling him out. Like, why don't you do your job? You're a police officer. He's like, well, like, I'm scared. Like, I'm a wimp or whatever. And he's kind of like, yeah, that's a good point. It's like, wow, dick.
Mm.
But and he's calling him out throughout the movie, so it's kind of like a conscious thing that doesn't get listened to. It's very upsetting that his wife, who seemed to be supportive of her husband, and her husband dies, and now it seems to be like, yay, John, keep doing what you're doing, which is a little weird.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, I also put Kodo in this category.
Of course we had to write about Yaphet Kotto because Yaphet Kotto is awesome.
Yeah,
if you have a movie with a scene with Yaphet Kotto in it, that scene is good.
It is. And that scene in his studio, as he called it, I loved it. Because it was like, because John's doing his whole like, I'm tough, I can yell,
Yeah,
and Kodo really like barely raises his voice. Mm-hmm. I think he does once. And is kind of like, you are beneath me. Mm-hmm. You are a clown type of deal.
Yeah, he's a community organizer and trying to solve the root causes of crime. And he's like, you just beating up black people. And I'm like, whoa, this movie suddenly got interesting. But like I said,
he's like, this is way more complicated than what you're making it out to be.
Yeah,
and you're making out almost be black and white. And there's poor people involved here. And we're trying to raise a community. It's like, wow, this guy gets it. This is awesome. Call him out. This is great.
Mm-hmm. And he calls.
It was really eye-opening
calls
moment.
John a naive racist, and I'm like,
yeah,
yes. And then he does like a fun dance with this stage.
Yeah, he's trying to a play thing going on.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Don't yell at me in my studio." I'm like, "Ooh, I would not yell at this man in his studio."
No, Yaphet Kotto is intimidating looking.
Yeah, you're the man. Yeah, and then he comes back
with him. And it's so perplexing as to why this scene even happens because he is totally anti-John in that first scene.
It makes no sense. The first scene makes no sense to why he would contact and find these people for him later. No sense. It really doesn't.
I get the sense that like they made this movie and they decided they needed something to like even it out. They're like, well, what if we throw in Yaphet Kotto for a couple scenes? Because it's weird to get an actor of his stature just thrown in these 2 scenes randomly.
Yeah,
it's like
because this is post him being a Bond villain, right?
Oh, but this is post him being an alien with Tom Skerritt too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's weird.
It really is weird. Yeah, wow. But even regardless that the scenes don't connect and have connective tissue, and it really makes no sense. The second scene with him, maybe not as amazing, but also really good, where he sets him up.
Yeah, Yaphet Kotto always great. I love it.
he sets him up and calls him to get these people out of here and like look at you type of deal, you racist. Calls him out again and goes away. It's like, yeah, awesome. It was a great scene. And so yeah, I loved everything with Yamakoto. I thought the kind of wimpy best friends trying to help him through things but also calling him out. Like I enjoyed. I thought he was good.
Vince, you forgot his name
Vince. Again. Yeah, police cop friend. Yeah.
The only other character I wrote about here was Ted Ross, the police commissioner.
Oh yeah, I liked him a lot. Yeah, he was really good.
Me too. You know him. He was Bitterman in the Arthur movies, and he was the Lion in The Wiz, and he was in Police Academy as well. He's got these amazing mustache.
Yeah, I was another interesting character that seemed to really be way more cognizant and realizing what's going on.
Would have been
here.
Way more interested in seeing a movie about his character than anything else too. Yeah.
And he ends up going along with it because it's gonna up and help his own political career.
It's interesting.
And
there's a councilman that comes in and she's not liking what John is up to. I know he's after my seat.
Yeah.
So and you owe me. I put you in this job. You owe me a favor. This is how it's going to be. And is there a bug on your shoulder there, buddy?
Yeah, there's like a stink bug that keeps flying around.
I'm sorry. Anyway, sorry. 1, 2, 3. So he's like, okay, I will talk to him, and he talks to John. He gives him a song and dance about I'm going to make your life hell, which never follows up on.
Right.
And I guess John starts getting some motivation for or buzz about actually running and winning. So that's why he decides to, after arresting him, he's like, yeah, I'm not going to charge you with anything because you're going to win and you're going to owe me a favor now.
Yeah.
But wow, that's interesting. I love that. It's cool. He's a very cool character. Would have loved more of him. Would have loved more of these kind of politics in the movie. But it's only ever, waved at.
Yeah, and I guess you could also put his wife too, Patti LuPone.
I thought about it. I want to. She's an incredible talent, Patti LuPone.
Yeah.
She has nothing to do in this movie except to yell at John.
Yeah. And she's like basically talking to a wall and can't convince him of anything. And I mean, you can see she even gives up. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna go to a movie.
Yeah, I like that part.
Yeah, but I mean, as much as she's not given a lot to do, and you wish she had a little bit more, something more there to do. I thought she was really good. She was good at what she was doing. Like I thought all the side characters here were pretty solid. I even enjoyed the very stereotypical Italian people in the neighborhood.
Sure.
So yeah, I gave it a 3 again.
Whoa!
I know.
Yeah, that one also got a 1.5 for me.
1.5. Oh.
I gave it the extra half for Yefika. You could talk me into going to 2 because I like Ted Ross and his 2 scenes. Because I got 2 great scenes with Yefikoto. I got 2 fun scenes with Ted Ross, and that's really it. Because Vince is a drip.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I don't know.
So what is that, 6.5, I guess?
You want to go 2 again on this then? So
yeah.
2, 4, 5, 6.5. Yeah. All right. Damn. That's not fair. I don't like this because
I don't like that it's below Death Wish 2. I think it's more entertaining.
I think Death Wish 2 is a more entertaining movie. I think The Sword and the Sorcerer is a more entertaining movie than this movie.
I disagree.
Okay.
I don't think. I mean, Death Wish 2 is a pretty problematic movie as well.
Yes. But that movie sort of recognizes it's problematic because they don't treat him as a good guy.
I guess.
It's way more problematic in the third movie where they treat him like a hero. But plus, you got Charles Bronson, who is,
well, yeah.
He could have
pulled
off an Italian a lot better.
That's true.
Even though my man is straight up Polish.
Well, for my list, it is above 1990, The Bronx Warrior, but not for years.
Nope, not for me. Doesn't have Hammer! Hammer's God! Hammer!
Well, I mean, for your list, because you have it slotted in at 8.
Yeah.
For you, it's still in the bottom 5.
It sure is.
Fighting Back is still in the bottom 5. And for me, in my list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it is right out of the bottom 5, right above it.
Yeah, I think I'd rather.
So I think it's basically appropriately ranked then.
So I agree it's better than Forced Vengeance, but I think I'd rather watch Megaforce again than watch this movie again.
Oh, no. I really didn't care. Look, no, there was interesting things going on with Fighting Back. There was nothing interesting with Sword and the Sorcerer or Megaforce. Forced Vengeance. Sorceress obviously is garbage. I feel like there was enough interesting things in Fighting Back that I'd be more interested in watching Fighting Back than Death Wish 2. To be honest, I thought it was probably better than a lot of things. I think I had it originally at 8.5. So it would have been tied with 1 down, 2 to go.
No, I love that movie.
And I probably would have put that over. So to me, it would have been right above The Soldier.
So two miscellaneous things. A few miscellaneous things I have for you. So
Fair
after John beats up the drug dealer, he takes a bucket of chicken. He triumphantly takes some chicken and pours it
right from the fryer
into a bucket and walks away. The next scene, we cut to him at the dinner table. There is a second bucket of chicken, and
I thought it was the same bucket.
No, there are two buckets on the table.
Oh.
And there are a bunch of side dishes now, which he did not grab on the way out. Which made me laugh. And so I'm thinking somebody went, like maybe the cop went to the store afterwards, and it's like, well, I'm here. I'll get a bucket of chicken and some side dishes. So I thought that was funny.
Maybe it's a chain. They went to a different one.
I thought about that possibility too. Yeah, that could have been. Second thing, cops look cooler when leather jackets were part of their uniforms in movies.
Yeah.
I liked that.
For sure.
Yeah.
I agree. You don't see that very often anymore.
No. So the budget of this movie was $9 million, supposedly.
Huh.
I don't know where it went. I guess shooting on location in Philadelphia. I don't know.
Well, I don't think it looked bad.
No.
I don't think it looked cheap or anything.
So that's a little over $28 million today for the budget.
Okay.
Worldwide gross of $3.355 million.
Oh, no.
That's just under $10.5 million today. Big bomb. Big bomb.
Yes, that did not do well.
Yeah.
It looks like Death Wish 2 definitely beat that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's Fighting Back, folks.
Yeah.
Next week.
Well, next, what do we got next? It's your up. You choose. What damage you doing?
We are watching I, the Jury.
Oh.
An updated 80s Mickey Spillane movie.
All right. So I guess that one you're going to have to hand off.
Yeah, I got the Blu-ray. Only way to watch it, folks. I'm sorry. Perhaps this episode will drop way in the future for us, so hopefully by then we'll get lucky and it'll be streaming somewhere. If not, the Blu-ray is available.
We'll try to include and tell you as much about it as we can.
But it's starring Armand Assante.
That should be fun.
Yeah.
And we see our girls from The Sorceress again.
Yep. Also, Barbara Carrera. She was the bad guy Bond girl in Never Say Never Again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know the rest of the people in this movie.
I don't know.
Oh, well.
All right. Yeah, I was just about to look it up.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer, it looks like there's a bunch of action in it. So I think it works.
Okay. Yeah, at least from the trailer. What is it, Paul Sorvino?
Yeah, that's right. He's one of the cops or something, right?
Yeah.
R.I.P.
So, yeah. All right. The poster looks cool. I'll tell you that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it
poster looks pretty
different than this? What's on the Blu-ray?
Oh, no, that's the one.
Okay.
I think it was pretty neat.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's cool. We've done it. I, the Jury, next episode, Blu-ray. Sorry, everybody. And that basically wraps us up.
Yep.
All right. That is it for us. Please show your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or wherever you happen to listen to the show. Also, sharing is caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. You can contact us by emailing at filmbrochamp@gmail.com or find us by searching for the hashtag FilmBroChamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Philly Bros Championship Podcast. Peace out, everyone.
Go get yourself a battle axe.